try plugging this into your mic.
Okay.
I know that's right. We're gonna try to get a microphone out to folks so that we can hear folks better.
Oh, actually, sorry.
So many stories,
It's
right?
the opposite way.
I one time had a fan.
But here, let me give you a cable.
And at one point she asked me to not barbecue because the smoke is coming into her home. And that's so close. Also move out of the neighborhood. We like to barbecue. Some of us eat. And recently they built my mom calls it a monstrosity, but they built a triplex in the backyard next to it. And so it's three stories with a roof, and they built so close that my trees were impinging on their property. Truly, they were just everything that they were building. They couldn't do anything because they had put it so close to my trees, and so they cut them down. So I've had trees that were there for 18 years that are gone now. They've gone on forever. They wipe the money. They already built it. They would have cut down everything on their line, and it would have been so tough that all
If it's making noise, it is.
I don't think it's noise.
Then whose mic is making noise?
And they went down on
Is it on?
Thursday.
Wow, like an extra little. Sure, you have a really good disposition about that kind of thing.
There's no place for them to have storage, right? These are literally these slivers of property. So the first floor is just living room, dining room. The second floor is a bedroom, bathroom, laundry. The top floor is a bedroom, bathroom, and the top floor is a sliver of roof. But they're I can't explain how they're slivers. They probably go from the edge of the park to the where the window starts here. There you go, a sliver. What is that? $2 million cracker boxes. Yeah, and the architecture doesn't even match the rest of the neighborhood.
It doesn't match the neighborhood. And then they think they're entitled to certain things, like blocking my driveway.
Yes.
Because they don't have one.
It's interesting how so far the responses have been about being treated as an intruder in your own neighborhood. You hold these stories. You know this land. Those trees have witnessed your children grow old, right? And yet, people treat you like you're the intruder. What about the businesses? You guys remember some of the businesses that used to be around? Sammy's, Richland's. Who? Thompson's Point of View, yes. Oscars, who? Dino, oh my gosh, yes. Yes. The space cleaners. Space cleaners. Okay. Okay, Jordan's and a Cleaners on Cherry. There was also the Facts.
On the corner of Cherry and Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Now a doggy daycare.
Oh my gosh. That's when I knew it was over.
We need daycare.
When you start seeing the doggy daycares, it's over.
I was going to say the leg lady pantyhose. My mom had 7 stores. She had 3 stores in CD for women of color.
Remember the hat shop on Madison? Oh yeah, Henrietta.
I don't know how many of you might remember this, but Mr. Beaver down at the Facts had a hot dog stand called Eager Beaver's Doggy Dine Out. It was like the 31 flavors of hot dogs. He had chili dogs, sauerkraut dogs, Chicago dogs. It was right at the facts on Martin Luther King and Cherry. Yeah, Eager Beaver's Doggy Dine Out.
I just want to tell you that there's a project going on in the CD called SHARP, and it's for African American seniors to walk around for 4 weeks, 3 times a week, and walk around the community and look at what you remember. And I'm part of that group. I just started last week, and I didn't grow up here, and the other person that's with me hasn't grown up here, but the one other person does. And so they give us different areas to walk on, and recently we walked 24th to Cherry around this way, come through Wari, and then we walked on East Pike and 34th and talked about what's up there. You know, Carolyn Downs Clinic, I don't know if people that remember all of that, the Black Panthers, all these different things, the barber shop, all these different, they had Conley hats and all that kind of stuff. So more people need to know about this. This is a African American woman from Outer Oregon, PhD, that's doing this research. And so the Sanctuary Senior Center is the person, Anthony Cryer is the person to talk to find out more about it. And they wanted seniors, but the thing is they wanted people that could walk. And a lot of people there's a lot of seniors that are here that can't walk, without assistance. So that's something that we need to know about. I'm telling you, I never knew that James Washington statue was on 23rd. I mean, I don't know if you know that. James Washington, the sculpture. There's a statue of him on 23rd at Midtown. And then there's all kinds of pictures. And then there's all kinds of lanterns and stuff with black folks' pictures on it. Ernestine Anderson is one of the few people that I know. There's a sister that's opening up a beauty salon up there. So if you can get out your car and walk, it would be nice so you can see what kinds of things they're doing to us now. Okay. And then also the 23rd and Jackson Vulcan, my son lives in there on the 7th floor. If you go inside there's nothing but black people. This stuff just really pains me because we didn't have none of this while I was raising my kids. And so in that building, they've got, in the mailroom, they've got pictures of black folks from like the 50s dancing all over in the mailroom. As you walk through the halls, they've got African fabric. They've got different artists, black art stuff. They have a beautiful thing by Marita Dingus in the middle. You must go and look. It's a fabulous piece of art in there that nobody knows about. The Vulcan, where Red Apple used to be. And I heard somebody say, I was in the Red Apple when the earthquake was. And they tried to put me in the meat thing.
Is there anybody else?
I remember BJ's, the beauty supply store. When I first moved in the neighborhood, I used to go there and buy all my hair stuff, and then they put something in the promenade, little Asian store with all the hair and stuff, Western, and pretty much drove her out of business.
Yeah. So there are what I love about what everybody, sorry, I gotta, the face has gotta recognize my face. Everybody's sharing this information and names of folks that we ought to be connected to is another reason why we want this group to exist, so that you all will have access to each other's pearls of wisdom and each other's resources. Connect to some of those resources that could be also available to you. We want for this group to be able to have their questions answered, a place to go and ask questions, and a place to be heard, a place where your voices are centered and lifted, and as well as your needs, right? So we're here to work for you and just facilitate, in this way. But all of you guys are going to be the ones that drive the kind of focus in the work that we do. And it's interesting that a lot of your experiences based on gentrification is, those things feel like they're irreversible at this point. I did a little short film on the Central District, and it's nothing, so I'm not, you know, it was a grad
I'm
school
sure it's great,
project.
Theron.
Thank you. But anyways, I mean, you know, I forgot to credit people and the music's all bad. Whatever. It was a film class, you know. And so, but I wanted to focus it on 23rd and Union specifically, and the fact that it's a corner that's highly narrativized, right? We all have stories of the 23rd and Union, right? There seem to be intersections where people got stories. There's Deuce 8, right? Over there on 28 and Jackson. Anyway, so the film itself was looking at Philly's best, right? And the legacy of Philly's best and the corner of Philly's best. But when I was doing my research, somebody told me that used to be a Herfy's. Does anybody remember when that was a Herfy's? It's like a hamburger joint. Oh yes, it was that too. It was a Taco Bell. A Church's Chicken. Wow. Wow. So that one building where all of those things, how do you guys feel about that corner now?
Weed and liquor.
Yeah.
So our sound guy just said weed and liquor.
I think that corner, the 23rd and Union, every time I go down there, it's just a sense of dread. Because it's like, it's a PCC. A PCC. Where Richlands was at. And it's like, it just doesn't feel good. I love the Liberty Bank building. I love Communion. But I'm just like, it's distressing when you see that. Uncle Ice, yeah.
Right. What about other folks? Because what I'm imagining is a possibility is that we get that kind of a change on lots of corners. Yes.
I would say 23rd and Union. I think about that intersection where a lot of our young black men were arrested for selling very small quantities of weed, and now we got someone on the corner benefiting from it, right? And also for that whole lottery process, a lot of black and brown folks weren't even given the opportunity to open up stores. And then you have Sean Kemp who opened the store and he only owns, what, 1-2%? But they're using his name to say it's black owned.
I did not know that. So on the wall when you guys came in, there were a series of questions that were getting to some of these issues. I don't know how many of you had the opportunity to fill out some of the post-it notes with your responses, but we're going to use that information to help guide us on the best ways that we can avail ourselves to black homers in the Central District. So I just want to tell you a little bit about how this group even came, like, even why it's here. So there's an organization, see this is where I need in here. There's an organization called CACE21. And CACE21 has a grant basically to support black home ownership in the Central District. But that's the umbrella definition of it. More specifically, there is a survey that is available. If you've taken the survey, that's so awesome. If you've not taken the survey, thank you. If you've not taken the survey, then please check in with KL, because the more information CACE21 has, the more that we can do in the future with regard to black homeownership and supporting black homeowners here in the Central District. Anyway, once you take the survey, we invite people to become a part of this body of folks. And let me see if I can see some of these. I want to kind of read out some of your responses. So, you know how COVID messed up a lot of folks, took out some of our loved ones, still messing with us? It accelerated arthritis in my knees. So, I'm a little less stable these days. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. All right. So here we have, what are some things or experiences that you miss happening in the Central District? safe streets, less crime, less homelessness, more elder house parties. What? Sorry. Let's see. Seeing my elders, gathering to celebrate Black folks, front porch conversations with longtime neighbors, Black people, Black neighbors, lower taxes. Oh my God, the taxes. Going to parks and knowing I will see friends. I miss the feeling of being around people that I can really relate to. I miss Black neighbors being next door, church, fellowship, the promenade, community. Let's see, walking to Black businesses, fellowship, just the basic idea of fellowship and exchanging. Let's see. Those are pretty good. Let's go to the next. Thank you so much, Amy. Let's go to the next question. What does staying in the Central District mean to you? What does it mean to still be here? You know, there's, with all the gentrification work that's been done, because there's been a lot of activity to resist gentrification, and one of the ways that you resist it, right, is you stay. Right, we stay. No matter how many times Windermere knocks on your door, no matter how much money they tell you they're going to give you in a lump sum cash, right? That's really talking you out of your wealth. It's one thing to be rich; it's another thing to be wealthy. Correct? So what does it mean? What do you need to stay? Or sorry, what does it mean to stay here? It means family, community, retaining property. It means retaining property, community, family. The CD is in my heart forever, my foreverhood. Property retention, more gentrification to come. Yeah, but we can resist it in the ways that we can resist it. Understanding everyone's goals for their homes. Yes. What do they need? If they want to sell, perhaps develop the land, perhaps save a home, right? Let's see. I'm close to everything, north and south, east and west, security for the family. That's why people love it. I remember working for a law firm that was a construction law firm. Their clients were the corporations, right? And I had just gotten out of my undergrad. It's downtown in the Darth Vader building. I just got out of my undergrad, and people's children were going to the same colleges I graduated from on the lawyers' bonuses, right? That's what this law firm created. Like, that was their money. And I remember once a lawyer said, quite haphazardly, I can't believe that they, ruined Yesler by putting up all those housing projects. You know what that land is worth? He said this in the 90s. And I just thought, oh, you're awful. Yeah, people could see it then. White folks were saying it then. Anyways, I'm sorry. Being in a familiar place, being in the home that we know and love. It's close to my church. It's centrally located, close to a bus line, and close to downtown Seattle. Very much so. Would somebody move? Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Do you have a question, or did you have something to say? Oh, okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. In a perfect world, if you could get anything you needed to stay in your house, what would you need? So, home improvements, property tax assistance, lower taxes, home improvement, to age in place with financial assistance. Who wrote that one? Does anybody know? Okay. To age in place, Yes. Can I ask you to explain what do you mean age in place?
That just means that if you need if you got stairs and you need that chair to go up and down the stairs, or you need a ramp to go up the stairs, that kind of thing.
Okay, yes. there should be some city programs that like at least do ramps. That's why we're here, right? So we can like look into that and see what's available and make that information available to all of you. Lower property taxes and tax assistance, most definitely. Information about all the resources that are out there. Wow, you guys must be getting hit with these taxes. Man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's see, help to develop property for rental income without huge city fees. Exactly. Okay, and then we have this last one. Does anybody want to add to any of this? Feel free to. And then lastly, what do you want our time to look like together for the future? Right? So people are saying new friendships. Yay! That's important. Isn't that cool that there's still so many black people in the Central District that you're actually meeting new people? I think that's amazing. That says something. We still here. Okay. Networking. Let's see. Advocacy. Meeting new neighbors. More commitment to loving people. Yes. To learn from other community members and other homeowners, home retention resources for all to share, and networking and support challenges. All right. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do is resource sharing. Okay, perfect. So if we were to do this again, and granted, because this is kind of like the kickoff, this is kind of fancy. I don't know that we could do this once a month like this, but I don't know what the money looks like either. So whatever you guys want, we will figure out how to make it happen. How do you all feel about, like, what's the best way to communicate with everybody? Email, phone, Email? Can I just get, a text? Texting too? Okay, that's good to know. Because I'm a person that gets, yeah. People send me emails and then shoot me a text. And I'm like, oh, and I checked the email, it was days later, right, earlier. So I appreciate that. So we can get information out to you through phone calling, texting, and emailing. How often would you guys want to, let me say, I'm actually thinking of another question, because I don't want to inundate people, right? We don't want to overdo it, because then we tend to block out what becomes noise. And if we just overdo certain things, it can become noise, and I don't want that to happen. But I guess my question is, how often would you guys want to gather? Would you want to gather maybe like there's a small gathering once a month, or like a less formal gathering once a month? Food can always be part of it. Or would folks like to do something like this once a quarter and we stay in touch with people? Or maybe just meet every other month so that we can follow up with folks. We'll be able to follow up with people via email, especially if there's something specific, right? Sister, what is your name again? Valsha, can you share just a little bit of your concern that you were sharing? So I want y'all to listen to Ms. Valsha, because I think that what she is saying gives us the perfect opportunity to, or at least as a facilitator for this group, as one of the facilitators for this group, gives me an opportunity to think about what I need to do once this is all over. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm from the Central District. I don't have a home or anything, but my aunts, they all have homes here. I have an aunt that lives down here on Martin Luther King, and just recently she abandoned the house. Someone has started going in there and living in there. I've been trying to talk to them about getting the deed, cleaning the house out, maybe putting a fence around the house so nobody can go in the house. People are parking their cars there. I can't seem to get them in their mind that this property is valuable property. You don't want to throw it away. You don't want the city to take it because they're trying to get it. There's a man that's next door at the church, the Ethiopian church, which we had run-ins with him, Haile Mara. He wants the property. So I'm telling them, we've already fought, we went to court about this, so now why are you going to just let go of this property? It's valuable. It's an investment. And so I can't seem to get them to understand that you don't want to just let this go. That house is over 100 years old. So we know there's asbestos in there. So we know that has to be tore down. Okay? So I just need to know what I can do to help my aunts. They are in their 80s. They're healthy. They can walk. They're healthy. Their mind is good and everything, but they won't listen. They're not listening to me. They're telling me, why are you worried about it? I'm saying I'm worried about it because our grandparents put all this money into this house. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and you're going to have it thrown away now? So, I mean, if somebody can tell me how I can talk to them, next time I'm going to see if they can come to this meeting.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So, do they need transportation?
They are healthy. You know, my grandfather, he died, he was 105. Just before Barack Obama was president, he didn't think Barack Obama was going to make it into the presidency. He was 105, nothing wrong with his mind, same with them, nothing wrong with their minds.
What do they say when you ask them?
They tell me, don't worry about it. Just relax. Why are you so worried about it? I said, I'm worried about it because I don't want to see anybody from the city take this property. They want it. And I said, and if they condemn the property, you won't get nothing. You know, and they've already had property they already lost. My great-grandmother, Maudie Warfield, had lots out in Tukwila, 14 lots. And my aunt lost some of the property.
Is it a money issue?
I just think I think they don't understand. I think that they don't care, or I don't know.
I mean, because that can be overwhelming, because I think about just paying the property tax on the one house I have. And like, you know, when I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, he was trying to give me his house. I was like, I don't think so. You're going to pay your own bills. Because I couldn't even fathom taking on another property in another house, and people were like, you should have took it. I said, oh, well, Dad, I'm trying to keep my stuff. He can figure his own stuff out, because he didn't want, you know, to pay the taxes and be bothered. I'm like, oh, no, because, yeah. I'm not going to go there.
So if any of you have a similar, oh yes, oh great.
Yeah. A group of people, like I'm thinking about bringing them to this one day. That would be great. They would think. You think they would come? Yeah, they would come. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. But we need to do that quick before they lose it. They're very stubborn.
So what's the solution?
So she was asking if she thought that it would be helpful if they came to this gathering, which I was telling Goshi the same thing. If we bring them here, it can be encouraging for other people to know that there are people dealing with the same issues and challenges and concerns. I think when you get people together and that synergistic energy of exchanging ideas and sharing resources could help, because people feel isolated and feel like they can't do anything if they're powerless. So we came here to get around some folks that maybe share the same stories and situations.
Thank you. That is actually a really great point about decreasing isolation, right? Another reason why this group is critical. It decreases one's isolation, especially if you're surrounded by neighbors that act like you're the one who don't belong there. Um, so what I would want to do to follow up is to, one, with you personally, figure out a way to bring your aunts when we choose another date, and also what is something that can be done between now and then, right? Like, are there conversations that can be had with them, or is there somebody that we trust within a city context that has information about their homes that could help them start thinking about ways to resolve, like, the abandonment issue, so that it's not condemned and it's not, inhaled by the city of Seattle, who will just go and sell it to folks who have more money, right? And so so that's what I envision this body of folks can be, or at least, those of us who are trying to make sure that you guys have a space to get together. How do people, can I just see a show of hands? If you want to gather once a month, raise your hands. Okay, what about gathering once a quarter? Raise your hands. Okay, that seems more realistic. All right, that seems realistic. What about, every other month? What about every other month? Not as many hands up, but I love it. I should have asked for it before I threw out the quarter. People already know how much I'm willing to pay. Right? I'm not a good haggler. Okay. So I see more folks are down for once a quarter, but we can contact you, right? We can still email you, give you updates to things, let you know what's happening with different people's stories. If there's, how would people want to know what is happening to this sister in the process before we meet next? Okay, yes, sis.
Would there be an opportunity to share out resources? Because I've been sitting here getting a lot of information on grants, on different programs that are available that I wasn't aware. Oh, sorry. I thought it was flyers. I was just saying, would there be opportunities to do some resource sharing? Because I just feel like there's so much information, there's a wealth of knowledge in this space, and so being able to share that out, like, what are the programs that you're aware of that other folks aren't aware of? There's different things that we're all experiencing that may be similar, but they may be separate, and so how can we find out about all these programs that are available, all the different offerings?
I think that's perfect, right? Because we talked about you guys yourselves being a resource. So what would be great is for those of you who have information about resources, if you could write down that resource, if at the very least write down the name of it or where we can find it, and then we can take it from there and then create a resource list that we can then send out to folks, right? But also want to be able to help people navigate that list. I think of when my daughter was my oldest daughter was trying to get a job. I said, you need your social security card, and she was like, what's that? And I was like, well, you go down to the federal building, and I gave her instructions on how to get there, and she struggles with anxiety and social anxiety, so I had to be very specific, get her an Uber down there, and she got lost and she gave up, and she came home and she's like, I can't do it. So then I literally went with her and walked her through it. And I think sometimes that kind of attention really helps people, right? Not that necessarily we have the capacity to walk people through everything, but we have the capacity to build a community where those who are available to walk through everything with you can be contacted, right? Can be available. All right. So once a quarter, stay in touch with you via email, follow up with individuals, create a resource list, right? And yes. Ooh, a digital newsletter. Okay. I think that's brilliant. A digital newsletter. So I know, Tariq, you're taping this, right? Because I'm not taking notes. So, thank you. I love that idea. That's a way to stay in touch with everybody once a month, and everybody get the chunk of information that they need, and we can put links in it, right? Oh, see, brilliant, brilliant. Y'all want to eat like this every time we gather? You hear that, Inye? They want to eat. Okay. And how about meeting here at Wari? Do you want to? Is there other places that you would like to meet? No. This is
Just to have an idea, there are a number of black-owned restaurants that would love to host a number of people at one time. You could do your own restaurant hop and build generational wealth. Just a thought.
I love that idea. That's brilliant. Look at that. We're so smart. We're so smart. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, yes, sorry, please.
Yes, if this meeting is about property retention in the central area, I think it would be wise that we identify as many endangered properties as possible. Those would be properties belonging to elders who may not have heirs, or heirs who may not have the resources to take on those properties. We should compile that list, and one good place to look for them, of course, is in the churches, because the churches would know who owns the property and what properties may likely come onto the market. Also, as on the other side of that coin, we should also compile a list of brothers and sisters that are positioning themselves to buy property, that are positioned to buy property and want to, and we need to put them in contact. When we have the elders that want to sell, put them in contact with these elders so they have the first options to acquire those properties, and we don't lose another piece of property to anyone who is not us.
Yes. They hate us because they ain't us. We got to keep it like that. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I would never have come up with this on my own. Oh, never. Inye, you want to come over here and tell people about CACE21 and the bigger project? Okay, so he's going to give you a sense of the scope of the entire project, and then we'll wrap it up.
Thank you, Barry. So this project we've been working on for about 2.5 years now. We started shortly after we started Wari. CACE21 stands for the Central Area Cultural Ecosystem for the 21st century. It's a way of imagining black homes as community spaces based on the work that we're doing here at Wari and transforming this home from a place that a single family lived in to a place that community lives in, right? And what are the possibilities for other black homeowners to reimagine their properties, either entire properties or parts of their properties, as spaces that can facilitate other things than, maybe just somebody living there, right? And so that was a specific way of thinking about how can folks afford to keep their homes, in short. That work has a lot of policy implications. We could not just start this up without having to negotiate with the city about keeping it open. We had to go through a fairly lengthy and very expensive process in rezoning. Specifically, this house is now zoned as a community center, which means that even if we shut down, nobody could live here because it's not zoned as a residential property anymore. So it's things like that, that folks need to know in order to, be empowered to figure out, well, what are my options, right? And so CACE21 is designed to begin to work with black homeowners, one, to be informed and empowered about what are the range of options for your specific property, right? And then what are the resources that are at your disposal so that you can successfully execute whatever plan that you imagine that you want to pursue. But also, it's a way of bringing together folks in the community, one, so that we can be empowered by knowing one another, right? Being in community again. I think we're in a point now in this neighborhood where we live in the same neighborhood, but we're not in community anymore, right? And so in order to be in community, we have to know one another. We have to be in relationship with one another. We have to be in a position to support one another, both giving support and receiving support. And so this project is designed to rebuild that community. So we're working on actively rebuilding a community of black homeowners. And of course, everyone that's a black homeowner has friends and family, right? And so in connecting all of us, we're connecting our community again, right? So the project has multiple dimensions, right? It's a community organizing project, it's a community building project, it's a policy advocacy, development and advocacy project. Darren mentioned earlier that we have a survey, so it's a community participatory research project in the sense that we are doing a survey of black homeowners to understand, one, who's in the neighborhood, what are your experiences and your needs, your current needs, your future needs, and what are your desires and dreams for your properties looking further on into the future. And so, these are all the things that we're doing inside of CACE21, right? This work that we're here today is a part of that community building component, right? It's really important for us to really be in relationship with one another, and we understand that that is a process that has its own pace, right? And so however we all want to proceed in being in a relationship with one another, we want to be able to facilitate that, right? So we'll be doing this work for as long as it takes, in other words, right? We don't have a timeline for when this work is going to come into fruition, and indeed, as we set the goal of building community, this work will probably never end, right? Okay, and so I think the probably the message that I would want to put forth with that is to say that think about this as ongoing, an ongoing effort, right? It's something that that hopefully we can see ourselves engaged with in until each of us takes our respective last breath, right? There's no point at which I want to be alive and not be in community, right? And so that's I think where we're headed. The other things that we want to achieve in terms of addressing some of the policy issues. I noticed on the responses to some of the prompts, just about everyone mentioned taxes. That's a huge issue, right? Obviously, that's a policy issue. So that's something that we have to be organized to address. People have been trying to tackle it, in small groups and one-on-one. That's really not a winning strategy. And the folks who are involved in government, there are folks who are allies, in trying to make property taxes less burdensome, but also their hands are tied as well, right? So at a certain point, it really is up to community, folks in the community, to come together, build your collective power, and put pressure on legislators to make sure that they're doing things that are in our best interest. So that's the work that we're doing here at Wari. Hopefully, as you all are willing and able, we want to see you be more involved. Not only in gathering like this, but also possibly getting involved in our policy work. If you're interested in getting involved in other aspects of doing outreach to bring other black homeowners into this, we'd love to have you be engaged on that level as well. There are a myriad of ways. There are a myriad of things that we have planned out that we haven't unfolded yet, that as we grow, we can begin to activate. So this is a really exciting first step. I'm glad that you all are here. We will definitely continue to convene with food and drink, right? We want to keep you all happy. And yeah, I think that's it. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions before I pass the mic. No? Yes.
So, do you have, hey everybody, I'm Kim. Do you have a group of people who are working on, because I know in my neighborhood, so I live in Beacon Hill, not in the Central District, but a house 5 blocks down sold for $1.2 million. I don't live in $1 million neighborhood. But so do you have a group of people who are working on taxes? Because that's something I'm worried about.
So we currently don't have anyone like actively working directly on the issue of taxes. I mean, I can say this. As we were building this project, we've been actively in conversation with folks such as John Wilson, who's the King County tax assessor, right? And so, I personally have an understanding of what the barriers are around property taxes, right? Which is why I'm saying it's something that we have to build collective power to address. So in building this group, hopefully we can build the kind of coalition of individuals and and connecting with other organizations, right? So that we can begin to figure out how to strategize and actually get some traction on that front, right? So, yeah. Yes.
Could we get everybody's name that's here? Because that way, if we wanted to stay in touch, if that's okay with everybody, we could do that. We could have a conversation if we need help or need to, get together or whatever.
Yeah,
we could do that.
So I believe there should be. I know that there's a RSVP list, for this meeting. Some folks probably came as a guest of others, but hopefully you signed in when you came in. If you did not sign in at the table, please sign in, leave your email address. I think, there are a lot of folks here that I recognize, so I'm pretty sure we have a lot of folks contact. So I think probably a good next step would maybe just to do a follow-up to this meeting here. We can possibly do, sort of a opt-in and ask who's comfortable with, having the information be shared, and, and we can sort of establish, how folks, how freely do folks want to sort of be in an open exchange, and so we'll take those steps after this meeting.
Yes, on that note, just to piggyback on that, if you didn't check in at our table, we're keeping a list of RSVPs, and I know we didn't have that set up when the event started, so before you leave, just make sure that we have either a phone number or email at the check-in table with Chris, which is just down the driveway. Thank you.
Also, I think the Zoom meetings are effective as a way some people wanted to meet more often and quarterly, and that might be a way that people can more easily meet. Doesn't require as much of a commitment of getting over here and getting out.
Absolutely.
This is a little bit off the subject, but on the subject. I'm a social worker and I work with seniors. And a lot of our seniors have been displaced, either to losing their homes, or other of us have sold our homes and displaced them, and they're living out, in Kent and all of those other places, and they're not able to find places to live. I was working with a family, trying to get them into McKinney Manor, and this was a husband and wife who both worked long and hard, had pensions, had an income of $87,000. And they could not live in McKinney Manor. They were over income. And what's happened, you guys, is affecting the health. And I don't know if you know, there's a lot of studies been made about exactly what we're talking about. Gentrification has caused health issues for us. Diabetes, high blood pressure, all of that. This particular person, the wife, has had 2 strokes. She only wanted to live close into the area, close to the hospitals. That would make so stable environment is important. So I'm saying all this to say, if there's any homeowner here who has a property that they would be willing to rent to a senior, please let the senior centers know, because there's tons of seniors that have no place to go. And so what we need is I'd like to hand the baton to somebody else younger to get down there to the city, to the mayor, whatever, get down there. We need to help our seniors. They worked all their life, and then we get pooped on. So, help. Well, it really is, because here I had families that I was working with 87,000, then somebody with 197, and then they said they have vouchers that will help them do that, but it's all a standstill. So everybody's in limbo. Seniors are being displaced, having to live with their children, and that creates a whole lot of stress. So therefore, that's our demise, right? They lose us, they're killing us off. So we need help that way. So what we need is some subcommittees in this group in terms of dealing with housing issues for our community. And the other part, when you talk about older people, the younger people don't have no value in wanting to keep the property. That's the other thing. You talk about creating generational wealth. They don't want to do it. They don't even understand the fact that they can reconstruct and make, because they say, these are old houses. So that's another thing. We need to educate our community on all levels about housing and living in these days, and it's happening across the country.
So just to kind of follow up to the latter part of her statement. I think for our younger generation, it's important to ensure that the parents or grandparents that may be leaving or intend to leave some of these properties to this younger generation has a proper paperwork, or, you know, we don't talk about death, but we know it's certain, and we don't talk about it until it's here. Even for a younger homeowner to look and try to explore, what is it that I need to have in place to ensure that it's as seamless as possible for my children to be able to go and transfer the home ownership to themselves. You know, we don't talk about that enough. Then we want to get upset with our kids, like, well, why did you sell? Well, what did they have? If the home's in probate now, they don't have the money. Their credits, we don't know what state their credit may be in. So all of these things are factors too. So if we're talking about building this generational wealth, the education goes along with making sure that things are properly in place for them, so that it doesn't become a burden on them in trying to, you know, go deal with the county, the assessor's office, all of that. The process online, they say it's easy. It's not easy. It's a headache. Depending on what their, you know, employment is, do they have the time to take off work to keep going down there? Yes, it's an asset, and it can potentially set them up, but if they don't have the time to keep taking off from work to go and try to deal with these people downtown, because all they're going to tell you is fill out the form. You go to ask any question, I can't give you any advice. So then they feel like they keep hitting roadblocks. So the part of that is the education and making sure that as the homeowner, we have something in place, because we don't know when our time is going to be. And we keep acting as though, oh, I've got tomorrow, but we don't know. And then having those difficult conversations. I remember getting upset with my father, going to pick out the casket. I was in high school, like, why am I here? God, like, this is so morbid. you know, but I'm glad that we did that, because they prey on you. They prey on you knowing that you're emotional. They're trying to get you to spend extra money on stuff like putting a TV in the casket for what? You know, you want extra lining to keep the bugs out. They're coming anyways. You know, so all these things we have to talk to our kids about. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. And all the conversations, there's so many things I wish that I could go back and ask my dad today that I didn't know I needed to ask. And so, yeah, I'm just saying that I think it's important that we have those conversations as well, to help make sure that there is a living legacy, that it doesn't just stop because I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm not financially set. My credit is shot. I don't know what to do. There's no one to help me. So selling seems to be my only option. Then everyone else looks at you like, well, why did you sell? Well, I need a piece. What about me? Then, you know, there's more dissension within the family after the decision is made. So we got to help our family stay together by making sure that we've got all of this in alignment, you know, and it's all set and clear for what it is that we want to happen going forward.
I think just to piggyback, you know, there's a lot of resources that are available with the city, with the county, and the state, but oftentimes folks don't know how to navigate through the system. And someone mentioned setting up committees. I think we need a committee to help, especially our elders that have higher property taxes that they cannot afford, because they can apply for and often will get a reduction in their property taxes. And then all the other services that they can get for food, for home repairs. There's a variety of resources available that will help, you know, install new windows or handrails, things that will help you navigate in your home when you do get older. So that's a committee I think we should really look at, and then start figuring out who needs the help. And oftentimes I found out, I was talking to someone today, they don't want to ask for help because they're too proud, right? So we have to figure out who they are and then convince them in a way so that they can get the help that they deserve. And let them know it's not a free handout. Let them know it's not welfare. I know my grandmother says, I'm not taking no welfare. I told her, this is what you're due because what you have done throughout your life for others.
Yeah, so I was thinking about like the property tax thing, the discount. You have to be careful about that because there's fine print. So they're giving a discount to the senior, but when that person dies, then they want that back out of the house. So I'm more thinking like, if we have kids, we got to talk to our kids now. Like I talked to my sons and they were like, oh, you can't sell the house. And I'm like, well, I can sell the house. But if you're telling me you want the house, then you need to start investing in the house. Because there's no reason that kids can't help pay property taxes or help get the house paid down so you don't own the house anymore. And so we have to have those conversations with people. If you're telling me you want this house, how are you going to start investing in this house now? Because like I told my son, I've been working 25 years for King County, and at some point I want a break and relief. So my plan is not to work my whole life and then just hand you a house. So I think these are conversations that have to be had with our children as well.
Hello, my name is Alvin Harris. Once again, I'm a longtime Central Area citizen. I live over on 26. I've been here since Abraham Lincoln was president. So, yeah, I love the CD. And I just wanted to offer, I was going to have a sidebar conversation with the city, with the sister in Orange. But one of the resources that's available to you, I want to share this with the group. I work for the Seattle Conservation Corps. We're under the umbrella of the city of Seattle and Parks and Rec. We're a landscaping outfit, and what we do is we have a contract with all the fire stations in the city of Seattle. We maintain all their landscaping. We do the entire I-90 lid from Lake Washington all the way to Jose Real Park in downtown. We do park upgrades, so we install barbecue pits and basketball courts and playground arenas and ADA access ramps. But one of the things that we do is we board up abated houses. So in terms of your aunts, we can come out, take a look, see what needs to be done. Because I don't know how many of you know this, but there's a homeless advocacy group. And this is what Mayor Harrell was talking about, working against our own best interests. They have a list of all the homes in the city of Seattle that are abandoned, and what they do is that they advocate for homeless people to go and acquire what's called squatters' rights. And that's what he was talking about. You're working against our own best interests. You're telling people to squat in these houses, and then we got to try to fight to get them out. So to prevent that for your aunts, we can come in, see what it needs to be done to board up your house, and then that way it's illegal for them to come in and squat and take your property. Because once they have squatters' rights, that's exactly what that means. They have rights to your property because it's an abandoned property. So I will be seeing you afterwards. And once again, I work for the Seattle Conservation Corps. This is what we do every day. We're boarding up houses every day.
I was just thinking as people were talking, what would be nice also is to do maybe like a workshop. So like some people know how to fill out certain paperwork, other people don't. So have a Zoom workshop, like this is how you have to do this paperwork, this is how you go about it. So then we could get the information versus somebody have to help one person at a time. We all get the information. And what I was also thinking about is a homeowner's contractors, and having a list of contractors, like I've worked with them, like I know Inge, when an electrician, he gave me a name of somebody and she did a wonderful job. I was really happy with her work. So, so it'd be nice to have like a list of, hey, here's some particularly people of color or black folks that this is what they do and this is the experience people have had and here's a list. So. I need that. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a question about notes. Yeah, so what we'll do, this session is being recorded. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll do a debrief based on the recording. We'll pull out all the sort of the relevant points. We'll summarize them. We'll send them out to folks. And I think, probably a good next step, in addition to figuring out, I think there are maybe a couple of ideas about when, where, and how we might be meeting in the future, both in terms of, in person and virtually, but also in terms of frequency. But also, we can start to, maybe take that list and start to set some priorities around what are the most important things that we should probably tackle first. It sounds to me, if I were to sort of summarize, there are a couple of things that are possibly overlapping. There's the issue of the way that some of our homes are sort of falling in the gap, particularly with elders who maybe don't have either the wherewithal or the desire to care for them anymore, but also elders who are having a hard time finding affordable places or places that they qualify for in the neighborhoods where they desire to live. And then also there's the gap of both resource and technical knowledge, right? And so sort of identifying what are some where should we start? What's a good place to start? How can we build on our knowledge so that it makes sense as we go along? I think those are all conversations that we can have. We don't want to make those choices for y'all, right? I think the goal here is for us to collectively begin to decide, what makes the best sense for us collectively, right? And so what we'll do is we'll bring all these notes together. We'll put it out. Anyone who feels really motivated and has the time, this is an open invitation for you to come and be actively involved in what we're doing. We definitely want folks to, as you're able and desire, to step up and have a sense of ownership and leadership in this work inside of CACE21. So don't feel like this is our work. This is our work, right? We see ourselves as at Wari and specifically in CACE21 as being a facilitator for the things that you guys decide that you want to focus on and prioritize. I think, okay.
Okay, with that, my name is Francesca. Hello. I am one of the performers tonight, and Basil Exquisite is going to take the stage, do some improvisation, and then a small concert. So I hope you all stick around to hear some music. And there are boxes if you want to take some food with you. Please feel free to have seconds. There's plenty of food. Thank you so much.
Here's your mic.
Rita Fairley, Maria, Chris, K.R. Fantastic, that's me. Thank you, Lucia. Thank you to Tina, Elizabeth, everyone who helped cook this beautiful meal. Thank you, CACE21. Such a beautiful team. Special night to be alive. And the stars above inside. A special night to be alive. Won't you come and play inside, baby? Baby. Be alive in distress. Special night to be alive in distress. Stay with me, baby. Stay with me, baby. Stay with me, baby. Stay with me, baby.
Oh, yeah. That's 206-880-8007. While I have you, can I have those photos, that video of us carrying the tall barrel? Yeah. I can use airdrop it.
like food in the bag, and then also all around the neighborhood.
Thank you.
And they had like little tags just indicate that we're part of the walk. And then there were like outdoor like musicians, people had things on their porch.
Thank you. We are Day So Exquisites. Thank you for joining in on our jams. Oh, this little one is so cute. We're gonna start playing some of our songs now.
And so yeah, that's what's going on. But that's only during the day. So we're going during the day, and then we'll probably be done around 5.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah. So it's really cool. I was so that's the big event on Saturday that we're going to. But we can go after as long as it's not during the same time. It's afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you. I gotta just find it in my
Okay, cool. Oh, can you send me a text? And then I'll save your number. Yes. Okay. I'm ready to go. I want to leave you out here a bit later. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, take care.
What's earlier?
Like I want to leave at like 9. Well, we don't have to leave early. I just want to leave in enough time where we're not rushing to get out of there. Yeah.
No, I'm willing to go early. But I'm just saying, if we're going to leave your house at 9 o'clock, you're leaving your house at 9. Leaving your house at 9?
Yeah. Well, you want to bring Adonis, right?
It doesn't sound like because he's with L. The outlet by so I just maybe
I don't wanna talk. Saying all the words so poetic and please everything. I believe in chaos like memories. I don't wanna take it. I don't wanna buy the big to teach you.
Because sometimes we'll say we'll do it later with kids.
If something ain't wrong already, this way is kind of good. Better now you can say, no shame. It's a roller coaster of despair. And you let your anger step out.
basement trapped in my heart. Now it's time to hold on me. You put this shit to right. Why you still trying to make me believe that you know what's best for me? What I could do, going back and forth, or I should follow you. Sirens full of dread, let me away to better days right. Take a cheat, like that trumpet inside of me. But it all about me. They call me savage like a pirate, 'cause I make my move right that you can hide it. Let me follow my instincts, and I'll protect me from the white man's little baby. Please just come to me, we're at the Mediterranean Sea.
Thank you.
It's up to you guys. It's chill and out. We can skip it. We'll work on it. Are we? Yeah, that makes sense. I'll use that. I'll take it easy. Yeah.
That's replacing Seattle Hazers.
first? You like that? I like that. So, yeah, you're just like, this is so sick. We gotta sync with that. That's cool. I want to practice that.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's for the people online.
Thank you to our live stream fans.
Oh, we're live streaming? On the internet?
I'm gonna sing this song to this plant pot right in front of me. Hey, baby.
Scoot out. I just okay. Yeah. I got a pedal board here. Forehead.
Shout out to all the plants out there. Gotta sing the smoky.
Just like me.
This next song we're playing is a single that's coming out next Friday. We're having a release party at Vermilion. There's a little poster there on the 17th, and I know Walk the Block is at Wari on the 17th, so if you want to do one event and then come to the next one, that's next Saturday.
I love this one.
So this one's called Feeling You. In the cut, all the wounds I see worry some too. What it means to be with you, what it means to be with you sexually. Tell me it's real being not physically. The power of us allows me to see it through. What it means to be with you, what it means. What it means to be with you. 1, 2, That song will be on all streaming platforms next Friday. Yes, appreciate y'all. Thank you. The next one is our last one. Come back up here, Zio. We'd like to invite our number one fan to the stage.
You danced so hard on last one. I made it. Yeah. Come try the saxophone. Yeah. Who's it?
This next one is inspired by bossa nova music. Thank you, Wari. We your day so exquisite.
Just want to give a shout out to that soccer ball right there. We see you. We love you.
And the weather.
Is it cool if I take the drive Well, also.
I just need to double check with India because his parking spot is right there and I get so upset.
What's up? I grabbed your symbol arms because I think you mine. Yeah. Still in my car somewhere. you're going back to Lily in a minute. Get all that taken care of. Sex. That's what you're talking about. I said sex. You know, then one last here. Yeah. This is the most like professional stuff like that. Keep on loving you. Maybe laughing at. Laughing at her. I was kind of, I mean, not professionally sexual. Yeah, I mean, that was good.
Oh no, that's not the vibe. I like the idea of not full house. Feels a little nostalgic. But no, yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially towards the beginning of the season. Yo, I'm so excited. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I was working on the front desk, so
that's okay. We're all
I missed
working.
so much of what was going on, but when I heard the music, because I asked Maria earlier, I was like, when are they going to play? Maria's like, they already played. You didn't hear music? What? So I heard music again, and then I was like, wait a minute, that must be playing again. So I at least caught like 2 or 3 songs. So,
Yeah, our agenda for the night kind of got lost around. It was good.
no, it's why. So Saturday, I have a birthday party that
Tito?
I'm wondering if that goes on. Yeah, it's like something. But so that's
I was gonna say back to you. Oh, great. This band is so good.
So I'm thinking maybe I can like come there just to sing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You spent it all down. Not all of it. Only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's it?
When are you guys playing that? I gotta come out.
Yeah.
I'm so excited when you guys
Yeah, we've been gigging a lot, so I think we're just ready.
no, I'm so glad. Yeah, no.
You guys are like my favorite.
You can't pay, but lots of exposure.
No, really. Yeah.
You got this.
We have like one microphone.
One microphone. That worked out. We got this like podcast.
Download the song, you can save the song. I just have to be on the musician, but I ain't.
He was trying to say,
Yeah, all the just like there's Canada that got the
yeah, because he was from Canada. It's like the best drink I've ever had in my life.
You just warmed and you got all this other stuff going on. We're almost done actually. Because we can wait.
And so we got to talk to him. It was definitely like a
There's some
because he didn't know who I was.
I'm gonna get that juice while it's
that stuff is really good.
That's so good.
And there's some more of the kids upstairs in the kitchen too.
He had like 2 kids. I'm pretty sure the kids were paid actors.
Last time it was better.
You're tightening up your arm.